Sam. I'm Ben.
And I'm Sam.
So this is a special cast that we're actually going to have because there's some news that came out a little while ago, but I wanted really to talk about it here with Sam and with all of you. So basically what happened back in October is Brandon Sanderson got a sack of money because we're going to get Cosmere movies. So the news came down. Brandon Sanderson, if you don't follow him on Twitter, he tweeted it out, said, "Hey, been wanting to share this for a long time. DMG Entertainment has bought the rights for my Cosmere books to make into a movie universe."
Well, let's hold on.
And,
Wait, just a second there. I don't. Bot is such a I don't know if that's the right word because the article says DMG nabs rights to Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere book universe.
Yeah,
massive deal.
They nabbed it.
That means
they nabbed it right from under all those other Hollywood fat cats.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, who else was up in this deal? This must have been like a what do they call that? And Cameron's gonna hate this because it's a wrestling thing. A Royal Rumble, is that what that is? Where there's like 80 people in the ring and they're just like pushing each other and doing that hitting thing. Is it a Royal Rumble?
Brandon's from the Midwest, so I think they call a corn husk. They just it's a contest, and they're all just it's like a pie eating contest, but they're husking corn instead. and not a lot of people know this, and you're not going to see it in this article, but that is how he chose DMG Entertainment over everyone else. They husked the most corn. Those boys wanted those rights so bad they husked 400 corns in 2 minutes.
In two, how many people did it? Was it just like the main exec?
It was just
CEO?
one very strong boy. It was he had forearms like Popeye.
Wow.
He just went in, ripped them open, and just ripped them all down. Like it looked like a cartoon. In fact, it was a cartoon, and also it was a dream that I had.
Oh,
so I don't know if it actually happened, but if it did, you heard it here first.
It was through a corn husking
contest.
Corn husking. That's good. See, it's good to know. This is why you listen to this podcast. We have the things, the knowledge that other people don't. I don't know if I'd call it knowledge. I think I just call it neat little tidbits.
I would call it knowledge, but you just spell it with an N-O-T. Knowledge. Like it's not knowledge.
That sounds like a last name. That doesn't sound like a word. That just sounds like a last name. I'm Edward Knowledge.
Hello, I am Jeffrey Knowledge, and I'd like to husk your corn.
I would like to husk corn for the rights to your movie. I want to nab them and then just have the corn in your movie and num on your movie.
I'm num.
And immediately Brandon Sanderson said, "Get out."
Get out.
That made me
Get
very
out. Popeye won. That Popeye boy in the corner won. And he's just in the corner just like, meow, 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 eating corn. And he's not in a corner. He's in a corn. That's where he husks all his best corn.
Because it's the Midwest. Thank you for coming. Thank you. They're so glad you came. Well,
so for those of you who don't know, Brandon Sanderson, a lot of his fantasy novels live within one universe called the Cosmere. Basically, what DMG has done is they've bought these several books, that's including Elantris, the Mistborn books, Way of Kings or Stormlight, Warbreaker, other books that he's yet to write. Yeah. Basically, they have the right to license them, per the rights of the contract itself. They started with a commitment of spending up to $270 million, which they're committed to spend that amount on the first 3 movies to make out of the Sanderson canon. So basically that means that they're committed to make at least 3 Sanderson movies. So, one way or another, you're probably going to see it. I do want to say, with a lot of Hollywood deals and a lot of deals like this, sometimes they can get lost and they do have contingencies, a lot of times in the language of the contract, to, not develop a product for one reason or another. Either they can't get the script right, or they can't nail down a director, producer, too much time has passed, they don't think it's a good fit for what they want to do. That could happen. Yeah. Either way, by signing it, Brandon does get, money into his pocket.
Yeah.
And that's more security. That means more books in the future for us.
No, this is what...
So good news all around.
It is, but And the reason we're talking about this is because it's very exciting news. When we first saw it on Twitter, all of our friends and Ben's wife was retweeting it, and we were tweeting at each other talking about it. But the more that we talked about it, and the more looking into it, there are so many concerns about it that just like, of course, and like Ben said, there's some things, some movies and that are bought, or some rights that are bought, and movies are never made, things are never seen all the way through. Scripts are thrown out, people are fired, all that kind of stuff. The Cosmere, as anyone knows who's either listening to this, who knows the books, or who's starting to listen, the Cosmere is such a large undertaking for a company like DMG to undertake, because even in The Way of Kings alone, there's going to be 10 books, and the only film series I can think that has at least 9 that people still watch. I don't know if I should say still watch, but people watched, was Star Trek. And that spanned from William Shatner to Patrick Stewart. And then, of course, there's horror movies like, there's Saw that got up to 7, and there's Friday the 13th, which got up to too many, and Halloween, which got up to a lot.
Harry Potter, which got 8.
Harry Potter got 8. So there is hope, but there's also a lot of concerns. One of the concerns...
Yeah, well,
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I would say, looking at it like that, you may think that it's a bit of an undertaking.
Yeah.
I think the way that they're looking at it is more kind of like the Marvel model that we're seeing. Now, Marvel, they've made a ton of movies at this point. They've made 3 Iron Man movies. They're making 3 Thor movies. They'll have 3 Thor movies by the end of next year.
Yep.
2 Guardians of the Galaxy movies. 3 Avengers movies. 3 Captain America movies. Like, that just right there is over 10 movies altogether.
Yeah.
But they all kind of have their own individual flavor. Then you have your one-offs like Ant-Man and the Spider-Man movies that are coming up too. So I think they're looking at it more like that. They're looking at a group of movies that will complement one another, that will build on one another's lore, but also kind of give kind of a different flavor for each one. Maybe they aren't going to be making 10 Stormlight Archive movies, but what if they make, 5? What if they make a Stormlight Archive series, a TV series instead? They could do whatever they want there. They own the rights and they already have their commitments, so it depends which way they want to go.
That's a good point. And we're going to do a little bit of pros and cons here. Something else, looking into it, the people who are hired to write the first, let me see. So the book, The Way of Kings, it's the first in the series of the Stormlight Archive. DMG has hired Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan to be the writing team to adapt the book into the film. Now, these two guys, they've done a lot of horror movies together, starting with, they came in on Saw 4. That was not where they started, but that's kind of to give you an idea where they were. They've done other things. They did Saw 5 and Saw 6. They did Saw 3D. They did a movie called Feast, along with its 2 sequels. They did Piranha 3D. They did The Collection.
Piranha 3D.
Yeah. But they also did Pacific Rim, which, as many people know, it's the Guillermo del Toro film that was... Wait, Guillermo del Toro? Yeah. Guillermo del Toro film that was very, very fun. Robots fighting aliens. You couldn't ask for more. It was great. So there's a little hope in that. But, they're relatively new writers, give or take a decade or so. And if DMG trusts them enough, I guess I can't say no. And as Brandon Sanderson says in the article itself, you can find it on Variety.com. He says the people at DMG aren't just producers or financiers, they're fans. From the moment we met, I knew they understood my vision and goals for the Cosmere, and I've been excited to work with them in bringing their vision for the universe to the screen. So Sanderson does have a lot of faith.
Sam, would you call them financiers?
Get out. Just kidding. Yes, I would. That was good. That was good. I wish I thought of that. That's why I said that.
Because they're fans and they're also financiers.
And they're also fancy. They're fancy-nanciers.
They just come in and they're like in 17th century clothing. They're like, we do love your books, Brandon. Pardon me while I have some snuff.
Did you say snuff?
No.
Oh, man.
but I think there there are pros and cons. Like we see
Yeah.
those writers, we see their credits. We can see look at the credits of DMG too, where they brought they're mostly in distribution. They're a Chinese company that helps distribute movies in China specifically,
Yeah.
and they do some producing as well. So they distributed Iron Man 3, produced it as well. They produced the new Point Break, which came out in 2015, which I
Ugh.
didn't hear anything really positive about. But if there's an interesting thing that's happening in our cinema landscape right now, where America is still the largest audience for movies, but the second biggest audience in the world is China, and they are a big audience. They bring in a ton of money. About 60 to 80%, I think, is what I read before. Of the revenue that a money could make locally, it could be made overseas in China alone. But China has very strict regulations over what international movies they'll allow to be shown.
Right.
They only allow a certain amount in a year. Sometimes it's a handful. Sometimes it's no more than 20. But DMG, being a Chinese company, would have the in and being able to release any movies or TV series that the Cosmere makes in China as well. So that is exciting. They it looks like they're trying to get into making more of their own movies and financing and actually creating movies finally for themselves instead of producing or distributing other people's movies.
Yeah.
And also, if you're doing that, you want to invest all that you can in it and do it right. So more power to them. I hope it's great.
Yeah, and I know I was being a little negative with talking about the writers and talking about such a large undertaking, but I really am excited. I think, and especially, Mr. Sanderson, I trust you. You're the neatest guy. You're so nice, and you're very, very smart. Too smart for me, but you know what you're doing, and I'm excited. I think it's going to be so cool. And even if it, a lot of people will say, oh, it wasn't like the book, but it'll still be just so fun to see this crap happen. Oh, so awesome.
Yeah. It'd be absolutely fantastic to see this happen. And with that commitment of $270 million, whether or not they actually go in all in or if they try to start this train rolling, it's not going to stop until they've at least produced 2 or 3 movies.
Yeah.
And, we'll be able to see something from there if it gets started one way or another.
Yeah. And
so, yeah, it's really exciting news.
It is. It
yeah,
is.
Go ahead.
Well, they're fast tracking the Wave Kings. That's the first name mentioned. But while they're doing that, they're simultaneously adapting the first book of Mistborn. So there's no screenwriter for the project yet, but it's going to be Wave Kings and Mistborn. It looks like the first 2 to be adapted. So that's, oh my gosh, that's going to be so good. And if anyone, I swear, if anyone says, please, Nathan Fillion for Kelsier, just stop it. Just stop it.
Nathan Fillion, circa Serenity, could have done it.
Yeah.
But he's Castle now. He's kind of a goofy dad boy.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. This was we didn't talk about the book in this episode. We really we're not trying to do all things Sanderson. We're gonna try to do what we can Sanderson, but
yeah, well, you're definitely going to get more episodes, about us reading the book. This is just something kind of extra that I was excited about, and I realized, we have the position to talk about it, and I want to talk about it with my best friend Sam. Well, thank you very much for joining us. We just wanted to have a little extra time to talk about this amazing development for every fan of Brandon Sanderson. So hopefully we get some
Yes.
movies in the future, and we can stop reading these books and we can start watching some books.
yeah,
Right?
yeah, because that's the next step. You look at a book and you think you're almost there. You're so close.
You're almost there. There's just a little bit too much participation in this book.
Book, don't get me wrong. I love you. You're beautiful. But I'm doing a lot of the work. Like 90% of the work.
And I just imagine Brandon listening to this and he's like, I did a lot of the work too, guys.
You're Mr. Sanderson, you are totally right. You did a lot of the work. So it's like 80% the reader, 19% Mr. Sanderson, and 1% the book. Because, the book is just kind of sitting there. It relies on us to be lifted and opened and used, but in a good way. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, Sam, it makes complete sense. Anyway,
Anywho.
next time, if you didn't like this one, don't worry. There's going to be another episode right behind it where we get back to Mistborn.
If you didn't like it, we're done. That's it.
If you didn't like it, stop listening to this one. Listen to the next one, you coot. But anyway, I'm Ben with my best friend Sam, and read a book.
Go read a book.